Simon's Universe of Music. Today is an absolutely incredible, amazing day that I'm so happy about. I'm speaking to Jess from High Flying Birds. It's amazing to see you.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's really nice to be here.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So, the first thing I'm going to ask is, with your journey, starting from London, when was it that you thought, I'm going to start learning to sing and get going?
Well, my journey started really when I was at secondary school. My background is, my dad's a musician anyway, so music was always around just when I was growing up. So it's kind of, it probably wasn't a shock that I went into music, but there was a school concert and I really wanted to sing at the school concert. And we went on a holiday just in the summer holidays, and my dad got the guitar out and he started playing something like a jazz standard.
Yeah.
I started singing along to it and they were just like, oh, you're really good, and you know, maybe you should audition for the school concert. And I got the chance to sing at the school concert, and then every year from then I just did the school concert. And so that was from when I was 15.
Yeah.
Up until when I left at 18. And then after that, I knew that I wanted to be a musician, but I knew that, you know, it wasn't necessarily an easy thing to do. And I didn't want to go to university necessarily because I didn't know what I'd want to study. I did apply for a performing arts course, and then I deferred my entry basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I just kind of got into doing kind of events and covers bands just to get some money coming in. That's how I met Gavin, my husband.
Yeah.
And just through that route, I just started meeting more and more musicians, and then people started passing my name and number around, and it just raised my profile more and more and more. So it started with just like doing the odd wedding. Then I'd start doing sessions for people. One of the first kind of bigger sessions I did was for Manfred Mann.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it started like from then I did like I sang with a guy called Roy Ayres, who's like a kind of jazz, he plays he goes that everybody loves the sunshine. Yeah, that song.
I probably do, yeah.
I'm sure you've heard it. It's called Everybody Loves the Sunshine. I did that. It just kind of like started going more and more, you know.
Yeah.
I suppose I found my confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Was it always based around London jazz, like the South?
There was quite a lot of stuff in London, but then with the events and stuff I used to do, sometimes I'd drive to Manchester and back.
Crikey.
Oh, it was like relentless for pretty terrible money. But you know what, like I'd say to anyone, if they want to, it kind of takes that, you know, it takes having a goal, it sounds cliche, but having a dream and sticking to it and persevering despite the millions of knockbacks. You know, I'm still getting knocked back for things.
Yeah.
You just got to keep going.
I mean, absolutely. And I can tell you the amount of people that we're talking to, like new musicians now, it's the action plan of having to just get out on the road, right, and how much it's going to cost. Because this day and age, we both know that everyone's got to start thinking like a businessman.
It's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just how are we going to do this? How are we going to put this product together? How much is it going to cost to put the fuel in the car? You know, how much they're going to pay us wherever we're playing, and take it from there. But I think with yourself and what you're saying, sometimes you just got to think, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to go out and do this. You know what? And whatever it takes, you know what?
Whatever it takes. I mean, back then it was before I knew I wanted to, I knew I wanted to be an artist. Yeah. But it was before I knew kind of what my style was. It was purely a way of bringing in the money so I could pay my rent, you know?
Yeah.
And what it did, it gave me a platform to go out there and sing, sometimes 3 or 4 nights a week. So my voice got really, really strong.
Sure.
and I could perform to like one person or, you know, thousands of people. And I just got used to, you know,
Yeah.
like being flexible with that. And also sometimes I'd turn up to gigs and I didn't know anybody. I didn't know the band.
Crikey.
They'd say, do you know these songs? And I'd say, yep, because it was all covers, you know?
Sure, sure.
So it was, even though, you know, a lot of people were like, oh, I'm doing covers. Do you know what? It taught me a hell of a lot.
Oh, big time, big time. And you know what, Jess? Probably that's the best way to start off, because if I was a musician, or if I think that's the way I would gone, because I think you broaden your horizon, and also the way like you learn to play, like obviously different things, different sounds, you know, really good. What were the first sort of records that you were buying?
Good question. Well, I remember when because I went away to school. I went to boarding school for secondary school.
Right.
Dad gave me a load of CDs. He bought me a load of CDs. So
right.
Actually, they were the first CDs that I had, and they were something like the 100 greatest rock tracks of all time, the Pretenders album, a load of like love songs. What else was on there? Oh, I had stuff like Joni Mitchell. It was really eclectic, and I grew up listening to a lot of Latin music because my dad ran like a big Latin band.
Right.
So really broad, to be honest with you, but a lot of rock. A lot of rock. And then around that time, which was, so I went to boarding school, I went to secondary school in 1994. So that was around Oasis time.
Yeah.
And I remember distinctly people having all the Oasis posters on their walls, and my brother was obsessed with Oasis. By default, that I started listening to them, and my dad would play them because he's a guitar teacher as well. So learning all the tunes. So there was a lot of Oasis in my house.
Yeah. How old's your brother?
He's now he's hold a minute, I need to work this out. He's born in 1988. So that was he 33?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, well, but back in the day, at this point, he was about 7.
Yeah.
6.
Well, I was born in 81, so I left school in 97.
Yeah.
16, so prime teenager. You know, Jess, me in that band. I mean, I can only say the biggest influence in my entire life has come from obviously that band, them people, for everything from having pictures on your folder at school to obviously, you know, going down to our price or whatever, and even buying the singles like the Back in Anger single, whatever single, all the singles, the albums, sitting outside Birmingham NIA all night, going to Snubs in Birmingham, which is like an indie nightclub, right? Staying there right to the end so they kick everybody out with me and my mate Rodders. And we're like, right, so we'll get in the queue, we'll get our tickets, everyone's happy. That was Heathen Chemistry tour, right? And literally, we got our tickets. Obviously, we're skipping back to the train station to go home because we've been out all night, but we've got our tickets. He spoke to his girlfriend. Oh, they've just got them on the phone. Great. So I saw him 9 times. Obviously, I've seen the bird 10 times. But I used to be, when I was younger, I was more of a Liam man. And then when I got into, say, my late 20s, I was more towards Noel. So, and to be honest, with Noel, I think I'm a Noel fan. Like, you know, he's my biggest inspiration, you know, so.
Why them? And what was the first point at which you thought, oh my God, they've really hit a nerve with me, like a good nerve? Like, what was it about them?
Do you know what, Jess? I just think it was a look, the hair, the style, the attitude. And you know what? I'm a dyslexic kid, right? But they just gave you the power to think, like, you know what? From the moment I get up to the moment I go to bed, I want to feel me. I want to feel.
It was empowering. It's
power.
Yeah.
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 So then I left school at the age of 16 and I went straight into work. And you're in this environment where in hospitality, you walk into a kitchen or wherever and Oasis is playing. So
they're with you wherever you go.
That's it. They are. But then I was getting Blur albums before I was getting Oasis albums.
Okay.
So like
maybe it doesn't have the same message, does it, Blur?
Doesn't. No. It's crazy. As much as, I mean, I've listened to Damon's new album.
Oh yeah. I saw that had been released, yeah.
Yeah. I've listened to Damon album the last couple of days, and you know what? It's, as much as I love him and I love his voice, Jess, struggle because it just hasn't got me.
Mm-hmm.
But with you know, other people in that time period, I just get it straight away.
Mm-mm.
Music's a crazy thing.
Yeah, it is. It is how it resonates with you and makes you feel happy and sad and powerful, and you know, it's crazy. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing that brings people together as well.
I think that's the greatest thing in the world, the way it brings people together.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that's been so apparent with the lack of gigs that was going on. I mean, now it's a bit different, but you know, a year ago, I mean, it just looked so bleak, unbelievably bleak.
I don't know if we'd have Simon's Universal Music.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, from when I started the project to where we are today, what a journey. But
yeah.
I mean, my goal was always to get to talk to people like yourself, mm-hmm. and people that I absolutely love and idolize.
Yeah.
But also to show people, it's like, I'm just a fan, Jess, but I'm not just a fan. It's like, it is everything in my life. And I want to show people that I'm not just coming to the gig and have a few beers and go, yeah, everything's great. It's like, it totally takes something from the other's perspective, I suppose, Jess.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice. It's really nice that it can, like when you go to a gig, it can really affect you in that way, that when we're playing, our energy, because sometimes some gigs are better than others, right? And you think, oh, that crowd was better the other day or whatever. But it's really nice to know that each time is having a real effect on you. And our, you know, when we're playing, it's our energy coming out to the crowd.
Yes.
And that it's really having an impact, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that's that makes it all worthwhile. You know, the music, it's great playing the music, but it's all about how it affects other people. That's why we're doing it, you know?
Absolutely. Has there ever been gigs that you've been to yourself where, you know, you think that's really special to me, that's really important to me, I'm so glad I went to that?
Yeah, there's been a few. So one of them is a bit cheesy, but my brother got me tickets because he gets a lot of free tickets. He got tickets to the band Toto. Do you know Toto?
Don't think I do. I probably do, but I just can't think of them.
Yeah, you probably know their songs. But anyway, so I went with my dad, and that was really great for a couple of reasons. One was the band are just so amazing, and also that I was with my dad, and that was really wonderful. There's another gig that stands out. Stevie Wonder. That was
whoa,
amazing.
really?
That was an amazing gig.
God, I bet.
Paul Simon, that was really special.
Right.
The one he did at Hyde Park.
Right. What year was that?
I'm gonna say 2018.
Right. Okay.
I think it's the 50th anniversary of the Graceland album.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I'll never forget the first time I went out on stage with Noel. I know I wasn't a punter, but I'll never forget that.
Where was that? Where was that, Jess?
That was it was in East London.
Right.
What was the name of the place? It was a town. It was a town hall, and
Right.
sometimes it was used for boxing events.
Right.
It
Was
something
that Apple
Apple.
Show? Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah. I know it.
Yeah. So that was
Yeah.
the first time that I
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
That was the album launch, wasn't it, really?
That's right.
Yeah.
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 So that was pretty big for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
God.
And even like turning up to the rehearsals was pretty bonkers.
Yeah. So what was I mean, so when you was with obviously what was the band before you was working with Paul Stacey?
Oh, so that was I worked for a couple of years with a guy called John Ilsley, and John Ilsley was in Dire Straits.
Right.
So we did some tours, and that's how I met Paul.
Right.
And Paul produced the Kondoors album, so that's my album with my husband.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so then Paul then passed my number on to Noel.
Right.
And that's what happened.
Yeah. When I made my Noel video with Jeff, we talked about the
Jeff
impact.
Slate.
Yes, Jeff Slate. Which actually I spoke to him yesterday, and he says hello.
Yeah,
and he says nice to speak to you.
Oh, I love Jeff. He's a lovely bloke.
He's a brilliant bloke. You know what, Jess? He's been so good. You know, he's become a great mate.
Oh.
And he's a bit like a mentor, I would say. You know, for the work that he does.
Yeah.
It's great to learn off someone like him.
Definitely. He's a lovely guy. So generous and you know, just lovely. So lovely.
He says that you're working on his new album.
Yeah, that's right. So I've done one track so far, and it's just been so hard to find the time to do any more.
Sure.
Because I've been having to look after my baby. So
of course.
Yeah. But yeah, so that gig back in East London, that was the first one that I did with Noel.
Yeah. And when me and Jeff were talking about Paul Stacey, we were talking about him, his impact on, I suppose, with Noel's music.
Yeah.
Because I think he's really something for him. Like how close them two must be. Like seriously, really tight for. You know, there must be times when them two are together in the studio and they're knocking their heads together thinking, how are we going to do this? But when you've got someone probably as good as Paul, it makes life so much easier because of how good he is, I suppose.
Well, I know one thing, and that's that Noel really trusts Paul and Paul's opinion.
Yeah.
And I think they're both equally as obsessed with music as each other.
Yeah.
So, and they think they've got very, very similar taste in music.
Yeah.
So Paul will always be someone that Noel goes to, even if it's just to play him something.
Yeah.
You know, but Paul is such an amazing musician, but he's also got such incredible ears, and he can make something just sound he just kind of takes it from 0 to 60. You know, he's amazing. And his brother Jeremy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that so that we're on our way now.
Yes.
I think Paul had a producer credit on that. I think so.
Right.
Produced.
Yeah.
And, you know, he really does. He adds a lot to Noel's sound and Noel's music.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they've been friends for years, and I just think they really trust each other's musical taste and opinion. So they're a great working team.
Yeah. And that's really brilliant because it's just amazing, isn't it, when you have that, you know, team, you know, people working together to give people such joy. It's fantastic.
It's fantastic. And I think even if Noel does a record with somebody else, he'd always play it to Paul.
Oh yeah, I think Paul would have been involved with Noel forever.
Mm, mm.
You
I
know.
think I can't remember that when he actually joined, like the year that he joined Oasis,
Yeah.
but it was. I know he started off playing keys.
I've got a feeling it's going to be like late to. Oh no, hang on, early 2000s.
Yeah,
Probably like 2002, 2001, even chemistry kind of time.
yeah. It could be then. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. But yeah, he's a great friend of ours. You know.
yeah,
Um, yeah, we really respect him as a musician as well. He's just amazing.
I wonder how old he started playing and like.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I'll ask him.
Yeah,
I'll ask him.
yeah. I'd love to speak to him because I'm sure. But then for the what sort of character is he?
He's
Is he quite
hilarious.
approachable?
Yeah, he's lovely. He's he's funny. He yeah, he's definitely a character, put it that way.
Yeah, I suppose you have to be when you're working, obviously, with the other one.
Yeah, yeah.
But what have been your favourite venues in London that you've played?
Well, probably number one would be Wembley Arena, because
Right.
Wembley, and I've always wanted to play at Wembley Arena.
Yeah.
Um, Also, some of the smaller venues I've played with, like with Gavin,
Yeah.
have been really nice because they're really intimate and the sound's really good.
Sure.
And there's nothing better than just knowing that people are listening to what you're doing.
Yeah.
What other venues in London have we done? Ronnie Scott's is cool. I don't know if you know Ronnie Scott's.
I know Ronnie Scott's, but I've not been there.
Okay, that's it's got a real legacy to it, and I used to go to a lot of my dad's sound checks when he was
Right.
a lot there. So for me, when I've sung there, it's kind of really, it's nice because it's like it's just going back round in a circle.
Yeah.
That's been really nice.
Cool. And what venues are you looking forward to playing in London that you haven't played yet?
Oh, I'd love to play at the O2.
Right.
Done the O2.
Yeah.
And I've never done. I don't think I've played at the Albert Hall. I know that sounds really arrogant. I don't think I have, but I just.
But you know that you will.
I hope so.
Yeah. I can imagine that's going to be on the cards, for when it comes round again to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I've been twice to the Albert Hall.
Yeah.
See, funny enough, Noel.
Yeah.
First time I went was to see him, Oasis Split, and it was when he done the Teenage Cancer Trust with Gem.
Oh yeah.
And that was on the Friday. And the second time I went for was Teenage Cancer Trust, and that was Chasing Yesterday.
Oh yeah.
The first time that I saw him, I was high up, like quite high up, not too good seats. But the second time I was right in the circle bit, near enough down the front. And that was something.
Oh, amazing.
But I do have to tell you, I went to the Palladium gig.
Oh, the Palladium, of course, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. And to me, Jess, I'll tell you the whole story. So basically, I'm a Norwich fan.
Yeah.
And they got promoted right into the Premier.
Yeah.
So I thought I'm going to.
Better than that.
I know, it's crazy. So I was like, the gig was announced to play at the Palladium, and my grandmother was a principal dancer of the Royal Ballet in London. So, and she became a choreographer. So she basically worked at that theatre and all the West End, and was a pretty famous dancer back in the 1940s through the ballet and everything.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
what's her name?
Her name now is Pat Adams, but she would have been Patricia Beadle back then.
Okay.
And she she went into the ballet when she was 14.
Yeah.
Got her way up to the top, right? Then when she was going home one night, her train got bombed during the Second World War, and the chemicals in the bomb affected her eyesight. So she had to give up dancing and she became a choreographer. So this leads on to a really amazing story. So my nan became a choreographer, working in all the big shows in London and meeting all the stars, like Elizabeth Taylor and Laurence Olivier and Danny Kaye and all these. And then she had like a dance drama school, and Anita Dobson went to my nan's drama school, right? So when my nan was doing work on the BBC for a TV program called like Play Away.
Yeah, I know Play Away.
My nan said to Anita, oh, there's a new show that's starting called EastEnders. Why don't you audition for a part? So obviously Anita auditioned, became Angie. Then obviously she's married Brian. So my nan's like best friends with Anita. And the first gig I went to was to see Brian at the NIA. I've met him and obviously saw his sound check and everything. But my biggest inspiration, Jess, is my grandmother, because of her life and what she did. And
she kept going despite the fact that she lost her eyesight was so affected.
Yeah.
You know?
And like Anita speaks to my nan all the time. And literally just before lockdown in February, my nan lives in Bromsgrove now, just down the road from my mum and dad. So Anita came up in the car, took my nan and my mum out. They were drinking champagne, and Anita was telling my nan about the Oscars when she went with Brian to the Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh yeah,
and they won the awards and that. So Anita was working. She was doing the show Annie. Basically, finished working, got on a private plane, went to the Oscars with Brian, and had that night out, and then basically got the plane back and went straight back to work. So, but so I had to go to the Palladium to see, obviously, the gig, right? And literally, I was sat a few rows back from Sarah and the kids.
Oh, yeah.
So at the end of the gig, I tootled on over. I spoke to Sarah and said, hi, Sarah, I've come on my own from Birmingham, but I just want you to know that your husband is the biggest inspiration in my life. So, and she was like, oh, pleased to meet you, Aunt Sarah. And I said, oh, I'm going to see him again in obviously a couple of weeks' time. And she's like, oh, yeah, I'll tell him. I spoke to Jay Sharrock just before the gig outside. And literally after the gig, I thought I'll tootle on round the back to see if I can see. So I stood outside and I could see yourself, YC, and I'm sure Chris was stood with you, right? And obviously when I spoke to Chris, he was just like, if we knew you then, we would have said, Si, come here. So, yeah, that was a special night for me.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. And you know what? In that gig, it kicked off in the crowd. There was a huge fight.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Like, literally, we turned around to the side and these lads were absolutely going nuts.
Yeah. I wonder what that was about.
I don't know. It's, with obviously the songs and everything and all the different people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
You get these lads, they have a few drinks and...
Yeah. I think that's what Noel's music does, though. It actually brings so many different people together, so many different types of people together.
Yeah.
Because his music has such a positive, empowering message.
Oh, definitely.
Now, how football in particular, but sport.
Yeah.
And, all different kinds of people from all different walks of life together. And it's the same with Noel's music, with Oasis and Noel's.
Yeah. It was always interesting when you would go and see Oasis and seeing all the different groups of people and hearing all the different accents of where they all come.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have the Scousers in the trackies, the Manx all trying to be the best,
yeah.
And everyone from like everywhere. brilliant.
Yeah. That's why it's so nice to be a part of it.
Oh God, I bet.
Yeah, so nice.
Yeah. So with your album, when did you start making that?
We actually started making it, I think about 2017, the end of 2017.
Yeah.
But it was a very long process. It took ages to get mixed. And then I went on tour with Noel, so that took up a lot of my time.
Sure.
But it was kind of always there bubbling in the background. And because it doesn't have a very modern sound, I wasn't worried about it losing its kind of a now sound, because I thought it's kind of a classic sounding album. You could release at any point and it kind of sounds timeless.
Yes.
You know, so then we've only just really released it, but you know, with COVID and like you say, it's without money, a decent amount of money, it's hard to actually get it out there as much as you want. So
sure.
And obviously having had a child, that's what's a big complication.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's honestly like one of the most proudest moments was finishing that album and getting it out there.
Yeah, it's a brilliant album, Jess.
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
so glad you like it.
Yeah, I really do. And you know what? I can honestly say, for all that we've been talking about, right? Even if we didn't have any of that, and you come across your album,
yeah,
I think it's still an album that I would be listening to and become a fan of.
Oh,
And I mean,
I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, and from obviously with I suppose this is how it works, you know, from when you're into different artists and you come across like, oh, well, I want to know about that person, and what does that person bring?
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, I messaged you the song High Life, right?
Yes.
Believe me, Jess, I absolutely love that song.
Oh, brilliant.
That song, I think, honestly, is incredible.
Oh.
That is an amazing tune. So how did tell us about that track?
That track, we co-wrote it with a really good friend of ours called Jake Field.
Right.
And yeah, it's just we just wanted to. It was just like a real feel-good song, isn't it?
It's
an
amazing tune.
Yeah, and just that kind of old school, soulful kind of Staxy sound.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just great to sing. It's just really like.
Jess, you sing that brilliant. You know.
Oh, thank you.
And you know, we have to say this: your vocals, your voice, your singing voice is literally brilliant. You have to know that your singing voice is absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
It really is.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, another thing that I was going to say was with your voice, and when obviously you talk about the rehearsals with Noel, when the Stop Crying Your Heart Out, right? Whose idea was it for that track and the way that you two sing that together? Because that's had like 1 million views on YouTube at the Isle of Wight Festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the idea. That was Noel's idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first time we did it, I was kind of like pinching myself. But I love singing it. I love singing that song with him.
Yeah, that is just truly absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I love it. I love that song. I've always loved that song.
Yeah. So what other songs on your album do you really enjoy playing?
There's a song called Mr. Rayne, which we love performing because again, it's got that positivity. It's got that kind of up feeling, and because some of our songs are quite what's the word? I wouldn't say depressing, but they can be kind of quite sad, some of them, because they're about real stuff that's happened to us and you know, the heartbreak we go through as people. And
sure,
you know, but Mr. Rayne, we wanted to write something that was about good things that can come out of bad situations. So
Yeah.
It's always really nice to sing, and it's nice when you hear other people singing along to it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one. There's a song called Postcards that we wrote about my grandma and Gav's granddad passing away.
Right.
So it's difficult to sing, but it always feels really nice to sing it because it's like a celebration of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, those two in particular.
I mean, for a fan's perspective, and I would say, you know what, I'm going to tell you this. I am a really big fan of you and Gav's music, right?
Thank you.
And I love, from my perspective, it's an album full of absolutely love, hope, and enjoyment. And because of obviously you and Gav making that music together, and both of you being so talented people, but just having so much love in your life, it comes out on obviously the greatest thing in the world, which is obviously music, and it just sounds absolutely brilliant. You must be so proud.
Yeah, I am. Thanks, Simon. That really means a lot.
Yeah. Tickets obviously come out this week.
Yeah.
Right. So you can obviously imagine the light bulb goes off, you know, the wallet comes out. You're like, obviously can't wait, because there was all the talk about obviously, you know, 2023, too far away. Can't wait that long.
It was a long way, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I know he's talked about the album coming out in 2023, which I think is right. Mm-hmm. But what he could do is bring out, this is obviously just my point of view, he'd probably tell us to, you know, get stuffed or whatever, but he could bring out like an EP at the same time.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I mean, he might do something like that. I actually have no idea, but he might.
Yeah. That's just my thinking. If he goes that way and just brings out an EP for a couple of new tracks when obviously you're playing live in the summer, it just gets something to tick along to obviously when, you know, do you know what, Jess? I'd love to work for his office, right?
Yeah.
And I think if I worked in the office for the company, right, we'd absolutely smash it. We'd smash it completely.
I suppose you're a proper inside fan, you know, you know what it's like to be a fan at the like proper fan level, you know, like just the pure like obsession of it all.
Well, do you know what, Jess? I'm not going to blow my own trumpet when I say this, right? But within this country or around the world, let's say, there's certain individuals that really do get it, right? And it doesn't matter where I go or who I speak to, right? The number one priority in my life, or the thing that I care about most in my life, is obviously that band, the music, and everything, the people within that band. So you want them to be the absolute best. And this is quite a good point that I'm going to talk about, right? So my number one thing in the world is obviously, let's say, High Flying Birds. And I get sick to death of obviously all the slashing, like, you know, Facebook, my mates, everyone going on about his brother. You know what? I'm just like, it really irritates me. It really seriously irritates me, because everyone's going on about how great that he is. But I'm like, I'm sorry, you know, I'm on the other side here, and I want, because of how much I love it, I want us to be the best, Jess, you know? So I'm like, I'd make sure that everyone knows that this is the greatest band in the world. And you know what? We are going to thrive. We're going to be there. So I'd sit around the board table and say, right, this is what we're going to do. These are the gigs that we're going to do. You know, become part of the management team, and it would be absolutely incredible.
Well, you know, just keep, even though that idea you had about the EP, that's a good idea.
Absolutely. You know, which it would be amazing. So what's the new studio like?
It's brilliant. It's got a lot of personality to it.
Yeah.
And Noel, I think Noel did all the decor in it. Like he he got all the stuff, so he knew what he wanted to look like, and it's got a real 70s retro kind of kitsch style, and it's got a great sound, and it's not massive, but it doesn't feel tiny. It's kind of just the right size, and it's nice to actually, there's something that can be quite stark and a bit cold about rehearsing in a huge rehearsal place, you know, like a big rented place. Sometimes they're so big that you can feel a bit disconnected.
Sure.
But there's something really nice about rehearsing in his place, because, you know, it's got a really good sound and it's warm in there, and, you know, it looks cozy. So it's just kind of got more of a homely vibe.
Yeah.
Which in turn affects how you sing and play, because it's comfortable.
I think I read somewhere is it off Tottenham Court?
Yeah, it's not far from there.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's nice about it is that, you know, Noel's just been able to put whatever he wants in the place, you know.
Absolutely.
All the gear that he loves, all the, you know, all the things.
Yeah.
So.
And I suppose, Jess, obviously, when it comes down to cost, let's say, if you're going to go to Abbey Road, or if you're going to go here, there, and everywhere, you know, what's it costing these days, you know, to get in fact, actually, that's something that I do know about by talking to, like, my mate Rayne that I mentioned. He was talking about how much it's going to cost to put a track these days in a recording studio, but some places are like doing like deals where if you pay this much, you can have this or that. I mean, he's actually gone to like the Albion rooms in Margate to record
that recording studio.
Yeah, it's I think it's like the hotel, like bar and everything, and they've got the recording studio there.
Oh, okay.
So I'd love to go there. I'd love to see what it's like.
I've never heard of it. It sounds great.
But,
is it by the sea?
Yeah, I think it's like literally. I know it's in Margate. It is by the sea and that, but yeah, it looks a pretty decent place.
Huh. Oh, that's good to know. It's nice to know of recording studios that are, you know, doing well, rather than there's so many recording studios you hear that get shut down because they're being made into flats.
Yeah, I know. That's so sad.
So sad. And there's so many flats that aren't even lived in. They're just owned by you know, billionaires.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a conversation that me and Chris had about music venues. And I might have even spoke to Jeff about it. Obviously through the pandemic, and obviously with nowhere being open, when you look at like the smaller music venues, Jess, of, you know, how much it was going to cost to keep these places open, I think that's a really important thing.
Yeah,
that,
definitely.
You know, they keep going, especially for people obviously starting out or whatever, just general music in general.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose what happens is the less studios there are, the more demand there is for them, and then the more expensive they're going to be. But then you've got people that, you know, they can make tracks on their laptops.
Yeah.
In their house.
Yeah.
You know, so it depends what you want, really.
Absolutely. And that's the other thing as well. You know, the first interview I did was with Paul Tipler, and with him being the producer, you know, trying to make ends meet, you know, to make music. But obviously when people can do it at home or whatever, it's tricky to obviously, you know, try and make some money. But when you've got guys out there like him who's, you know, pretty good at what he does, it's really tricky. And talking to Nick was brilliant, who was the engineer for Morning Glory and Be Here Now.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, that was brilliant talking to him.
Oh, I bet.
Because that was just, I think I spoke to him not long after that he'd done the Morning Glory thing with Noel. So that was really good. I've had some good, Jess, I tell you what, I've I worked bloody hard on trying to, you know, put this together.
Yeah. So who else have you had on?
I've had Paul Tipler, Jeff, a guy called Callum Ingrams, who's like he's like a cello player, right? But he's from Scotland and he's got his own little band. He's spoke to us. Who else? Chris.
Did you speak to Chris?
Yeah, I spoke to Chris with the
yeah.
stage left, and obviously
yeah.
he said he become obviously good friends with you.
Yeah, we're really good friends. He's lovely.
Yeah, he lives down in Brighton, doesn't he?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he spoke to Charlotte.
I spoke to Charlotte, and you know what, Jess? That was amazing.
Oh.
Do you know what? That was so brilliant, you know, and we had an absolutely amazing chat. She is absolutely fantastic.
She is.
Yeah.
She's a perfect combination of warm, funny, and quirky. And I love that. She's just, I don't know anyone else like Charlotte.
No. And you know what? This is the other thing. This is the other thing about the fact. I'll show you something. I mean, when you look at that T-shirt, of the gang together, you know, it's just every single one of them characters. Yeah, I absolutely love.
Oh,
you know.
Oh, it's so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, for the individuals, the tracks, you know, the lifestyle, the culture, but the impact of the family of what the High Flying Birds is.
Yeah. And do you know what? Actually, seeing that T-shirt makes me think that obviously it's all about Noel. You know, it's Noel.
Yeah.
But one of those people on that T-shirt have so much to give and so much of their own personality in the way that they play.
Yeah. I mean, I think I said to Charlotte, Jess, it's getting to the stage now where that band is set, it's fixed, don't change anything, right? But what it does give now, it sort of smashes the doors open because you can write things. So, you know, you've got your bit, Charlotte's got her bit. Obviously, we know Gem can obviously do this and this. Mike's obviously, you know, the genius that can, you know, do anything. You know, the drummer, it's all there.
I suppose once you know that, you know what's going to sound good with each person. Yeah.
So it puts pressure on a songwriter because we know how good you are, but how good can you be? How good can you be to bring other people, have the ears to bring other sounds in where you know this can be incredible for someone that's going to pay, you know, money to get there, go to the gig, for the experience, for everything, to have the most amazing time.
Yeah, definitely.
It's what I live for, Jess.
Well, it's wonderful.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I can show you, like, I've obviously got there's obviously that.
Oh yeah.
You know, even think the book.
Oh yeah, the book. I love that book.
That is an amazing book.
I've got it here. Look.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
I love it. And you know what? In the pandemic, when it was really bad, I'd look at that to remind myself what I've done, you know, because there were days where you just sort of felt like, what's going on with life?
Sure.
So that was a really nice reminder of happy moments.
I think, Jess, the same. I can relate to that because it's there, and obviously, you know, when it comes out, obviously you have it, and it was on the shelf, and obviously I've pulled it out and I've looked at it, and you just think, God, I love that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
What do you think about the EPs?
I think I think they're great, and I think I like the fact that he's taken a risk with sounds and made things
Sure.
gone against the grain, and I think why not,
Yeah.
And yeah, I love the BVs that he's had with the he uses these 3 girls sometimes called Roxy's.
Yeah. Do you reckon they're going to be a permanent part of the thing now, or?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I guess I'll know more when we start rehearsing.
Sure. Have you got a date yet?
No, not yet. No idea.
Exciting.
It's exciting.
So do you reckon you and Gav would go out on the road, play live?
I would love to. Again, it boils down to money because it's expensive to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we might do a few London gigs.
Yeah.
It's easier now because my daughter's just turned 1.
Yeah.
So she's not a teeny tiny baby, but
no,
she's still it's still quite hard work.
Yeah.
You can see it getting easier as she gets older, put it that way.
Sure.
Yeah, she's still very reliant on me in particular.
Yes. Get that.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely, I'd love to.
Yeah. The time's 10:35.
I better go if that's all right.
You better go.
Yeah.
So, Jess, thank you very much for talking to us. It's been absolutely amazing. And I think we could talk for ages.
We could. It's been really lovely. Thank you for having me.
And I'm sure we can talk again soon.
Yeah, definitely.